Hi everyone, it's Jessica Dybzinski. Thank you so much for being here with me today. It is time for a Makers with Heart video collaboration, and this month we are focusing on our new favorite items from the Close to My Heart September and October catalog. I've pulled a couple of things here. I've got the Christmas alphabet and the dainty script alphabet, both of which I love. I'm thinking maybe I'll use those, but really I wanted to focus my one favorite product on the new Make It From Your Heart Volume 6 book. Now this is a pattern book that does both layouts and cards, and it has single page layouts, double page layouts. I just love it. I'm actually working off this double page pattern here. It is pattern number 13, but I'm going to use just the left hand side, and I've already gone ahead and pulled a couple of papers, both from the Home for Christmas new paper collection and the mix-in papers that coordinate beautifully with it. I'm going to do, like I said, just the left hand page. I have a single photo from my kids' school from last year when Santa Claus came in, and it was a photo that the school took. So just the one picture, and I thought it worked perfectly with that particular pattern. Okay, so the basic layout goes a little something like this. I'm just going to dry fit my papers to make sure that I like the way everything looks. And I can tell right away as I'm laying this down that I'm not really loving that green pattern paper circle on that white background. It just really kind of gets lost, and I feel like it's way too stark. So I did grab a piece of pine cardstock because that is the green color that is in that pattern paper, and I think I'm going to use that as my base page instead. It definitely makes that circle look a little bit better. And then I still felt like there was a lot going on there with that circle, so I'm going to change what the pattern calls for, and I'm going to actually tuck it behind those other 12-inch strips that sit below it. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I have here my little sanding disc on my foam tool, and I'm going to do some distressing to the edge of my base page. I'm just swiping it right across my paper. Notice that I did move my Versamat because, of course, I don't want to scratch any of that up, but I don't mind working directly on my desk's surface. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and start gluing some of the main pieces down here according to where they go in that pattern book. And it's funny because, I love working off patterns, but normally I follow them pretty much exactly as they are called for. So this is different for me, kind of changing a couple of things, moving that circle and cutting it. Yeah, but I like the way that it turns out in the end, and it definitely works a little bit better for my layout. So I want to make sure I put my circle down centered, and I thought it might be easy just to mark the halfway point with the pencil up there at the top. And then as I am trying to stick it behind that piece of black pattern paper, I can see where that mark is, and I can also see where the 1/2 inch point is on my T-square ruler. And so since it's already a grid on the pattern paper, it was really easy to put it in this way and make sure that I had it centered side to side. So I'll just kind of tuck it underneath that black pattern paper there. Once I'm sure I've got it exactly in the spot I want, I will go ahead and stick it down. Yep. And then I will use my rub and remove eraser just to take off that pencil mark. I find that works a little bit better than the eraser on the pencil itself. Okay, I love doing hand stitching on my projects, and I really haven't done a whole lot of it lately, and I've been feeling the need to. So I thought that this circle would be the perfect opportunity just to stitch around the perimeter of it. But I started freehanding it, and then I thought, you know what, it's going to bother me if my stitch circle is not an exact circle. So I grabbed some like junk cardstock that I had in my stash, and I cut a circle that was just a 1/4 inch smaller than the one that is on my layout here. So I used that as a guide to draw a circle on top of the pattern paper. You won't see that pencil mark once I stitch over it, but now I know when I take my piercing tool and poke my sewing holes in there that they're actually going to go on, I don't want to say straight because it's a circle, but you know what I mean. It'll look like it belongs there. Okay, I thought in my head that I wanted to use some green embroidery floss to go around the outside of the circle, but once I started looking through my stash of DMC embroidery thread, I really didn't have the right shade of green that I thought matched the pine cardstock. So I went to my second choice, which was black, and I think it ended up working just to bring a little bit more black onto this layout. Now I do want to do my best to share with you here how I did the stitching. I did a chain link stitch, and it's kind of hard to show on camera, but for the first stitch I just did 2 in a row. So I went over that first stitch twice, so it's got a double layer of thread on it, and then I came back up the next available hole and I slid my needle underneath the stitch that I've already made. So again, I'll come up the next available hole here, and when I pull my thread up, I'm going to slide that needle under the previous stitch and then go back down the same hole. And that's how I do my chain link stitches. I find it fairly fast. It took me about 10 minutes just to stitch around the edge of the circle, and I was very pleased with it, and it made my heart happy because I do really love to do that on my projects. Okay, now it's time to bring the photo back in and start playing with some embellishments. I got this sticker sheet here and I noticed that it had this fun Santa Claus sticker on it, and I thought, you know what, that's going to be perfect for my title. I am using my anti-static pouch here to just remove some of that adhesive off the back. That way I can kind of play with the placement of my sticker before I commit to putting it down. There is another one here that's a little tag that says Holly Jolly, and I thought that that was really cute. Seems like a saying that kind of went along with Santa Claus. And so I'm going to try to start playing with some of these things and see where exactly I might want to put them. Now, when I had originally pulled that piece of white cardstock to be my base page to start building this, I had thought that maybe I would use one of those stamp sets that I showed at the beginning to stamp my title across the top of the circle. It's actually what it shows in the pattern book, but it just didn't work now that I've got pine, so I'm kind of turning to those stickers instead. All right, I want to give a little bit of dimension to my photo, so I have turned to my bag of scrap cardstock, and I'm just cutting random pieces, and I end up layering 3 little pieces of scrap of cardstock up behind it, so that way it has just a little bit of lift, and it saves some of my foam tape. Okay, I went digging through my stash, and I think I'm going to use this set here. This is the Christmas Story Cardmaking stamp set. It is retired, but again, I love to shop my stash because that's why we buy stuff, is because we like it, right? And I'm going to use that to do some of the die cut pieces in there for my embellishments. So I'm thinking I might tuck a couple of sprigs back in here. And I also think that I want to play up that black embroidery floss just a little bit. So I've grabbed some black twine out of my stash, and I think I'm going to tie that underneath my photo right along where that red pattern paper is. So again, I just like to start by dry fitting a little bit before I start gluing anything down, just to be certain. And I'm pretty sure I want to have these sprigs coming out the left and the right side of my photo. They like to stick to each other and kind of move around as I'm trying to put them in place, so it is a little fussy, but just definitely kind of making sure that it looks okay before I add glue to anything. Okay, I think that'll work. I do have another little sticker here that says Believe. I think that's perfect for a Santa layout. All right, and so again, I'm going to take this black twine. I'm thinking I will tie it here. I'm actually going to slide it underneath that Santa Claus sticker, the bigger one. And then because that Holly Jolly sticker has a hole in it, I thought it would be cute to just tie it right to it. So I'm going to do that. This still needs a little something else. I'm thinking it needs some bits of gold to it. So I've got my paint markers from Spectrum Noir, the gold ones, and I think I'm going to do that, and I'm also going to use my Dina Wakley gloss spray in the Gilt color and do a couple of little splatters and flecks. I'm using the marker that has the medium-sized nib, and I did grab my old cheap T-square ruler from Amazon because even though I'm going to try to wipe this off after using the marker, it definitely does stain and leave some of that gold paint behind. So just be aware of that if you are using a ruler or something with some of these paint markers, that it may not entirely wipe off. So I'll just draw a little line across that red pattern paper, and then because it's not long enough, I am going to have to flip it around and get the other side. Here you can see I'm trying to wipe it off. I did see that there was some of that paint on my chamois there, but some of it did stay on the ruler. I really like the way that the gold touch is added onto this layout here. Those splatters are really fun, and I think that that line of gold really just kind of brought it all together. Okay, I do still want to add that black twine, so I will tie that around in the same area as my gold line, and then I'll go ahead and start adhering the rest of the stickers and embellishments down. So since I have my photo popped up, I do want to put a little bit of regular foam tape behind my Santa Claus square there. I do still use my foam tape, even though I've been on a kick of using that scrap cardstock that I have left over. And then I want to tie on that holly jolly, so I'll just kind of come around behind there and put a little bow. I think that looks really cute. Super happy with that. I'll grab some liquid glue and glue all of my sprigs and twigs down. And there is the final product. I felt like the ones over here on the right side ended up looking a little more stacked than I wanted them to, but it'll do. I think overall this is really cute. I love these photos that I get from the school every year where the kids get to talk to Santa. And yeah, just such a great memory, and it's a lot of fun to look back on all of the years that I have them from the kids' school events. All right, guys, again, this was a video collaboration for the Makers with Heart. I will leave a playlist in the description box down below so you can check out what the other ladies loved from the new September and October catalog. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope you're having a good one, and happy crafting. See you next time. Bye.